Varian looked happy about this. How wonderful. These people had always been hard at work. I wanted to reward them to show my appreciation. Seeing how overjoyed they all were, perhaps I should have come here sooner. On that note, I paid the bill. After changing our outfits, we visited the cafe run by Yoshida-san. Nowadays, the cafe was run by his disciple. Business was very good. Since the ingredients they used were exported from our nation, we could buy the products they sold at a discounted price. We were waiting for Hinata, who was also coming to Englassia. Apart from the lunch I was looking forward to enjoying in Englassia, Hinata would also brief us in detail about the meeting being held tomorrow. During that period, I acquired some of Sao's information. Sao had been keeping tabs on what was going on in the Western nations, so I thought he might know about the reason we were invited this time. Then, Sao, I'll trouble you to do the report. Very well. Then I shall start with the feedback on the Nation Founding Festival. As he finished, Sao began to report the important bits of information from the local rumors and gossip. The report was easily understood, and I was very satisfied. The feedback on the founding festival had been glowing. From noblemen to common peasants, everyone was talking about it. Speaking of rumors, the dungeon was mentioned frequently as well. The promotion we did towards the nobles worked like a charm. I heard that some were even forming teams of participants to challenge the labyrinth. Not only was this the case for residents near our nation, even in distant kingdoms, the interest was growing. At this rate, the number of challengers would keep climbing. And with that, after finishing the more enjoyable topic, we decided to discuss the more important matter. Then, tell us about the result of the investigations on those merchants, as well as the connections Duke Muse had behind him. I've investigated them all, ran a thorough search on the family members and the trade partners of the merchants. The results showed that they have not been in contact with any suspicious individuals of late. However, they did seem to share common benefactors when they were applying for the business license. After doing some research on the officers who helped these merchants, we discovered that they were all connected to Duke Muse. And what does that mean? Answer. The merchants were all acting according to the will of the individual Muse. I see. So no more important information would be revealed even if we were to continue investigating these merchants. But what about Muse? Perhaps there really was a shadow committee running the Western nations. There was a possibility that they were planning for something. Muse seemed like a competent individual. We should probably continue surveilling the person. So, I've heard that Duke Muse is a cunning one. What happened to this pesky guy? No matter how cunning he was, he couldn't run from Sai's watchful eye. If he were to come in contact with any suspicious organization or tried to pull something, we could probably catch their tail and turn it against them. But just as I was thinking about it, Sao spilled a shocking fact. He's dead. Ah. I suspect the cause of death was a ranged attack. Muse was the Duke of the Kingdom of Gustin, and a man of high social standing. To be so daring as to kill Muse with such authority, this really made one doubt whether this had to do with some secret organization or not. Moreover, if they really went to such lengths to cover their tracks, our opponent must have held tremendous power. Answer. It is estimated that they discovered that individual Sai was tracking Muse. He was murdered to silence him, huh? Then we needed to treat the matter more seriously. Our opponent was no easy foe to tackle. Even you did not notice. Benimaru questioned, which was met with Sai's calm answer, yes. Until Muse fell before my very eyes, I did not sense the slightest sting. It seemed that the only sound made during the event was Muse dropping to the ground. Even Sao did not see it coming. Seeing him reporting in an almost apologetic tone, I could only comfort him. Unbelievable. If Sao didn't sense anything, the assassin must have attacked from several hundred meters away. If it really was magic, surely, you would have been able to sense mana, and if it was some projectile weapon, surely, there would have been remnants of Yauki as well. No, it couldn't have been that simple. With Raphael-san's aid, I can sense most things with magic perception. But in this case, it sounds like a sniper attack. Sniper? What is that? I see, so Benimaru didn't know. Shuna also looked at me with confusion. Come to think of it, there weren't any firearms in this world, however, if it were to be another world you couldn't dismiss that possibility. You mean guns? I recall that Yuki owns a pistol. Wah. I almost fell off my chair as someone suddenly spoke behind me. It was Hinata. That gave me a good scare. She hid her orb before approaching me without a sound. Benimaru smiled. Sao also covered his mouth, seemingly to conceal his grin. That was super embarrassing. Ani-sama. And Sao too. Shuna scolded them both on my behalf, so I didn't voice my complaint. But then again, Raphael-san should have reported to me in the first place. Report. The individual approaching bore no ill will. I figured as much. It was all because I tried too hard playing it cool. While thinking can't help it with these guys, I passed off the awkward moment with a wry smile. Since Hinata had come, we began to order our lunch. 1 silver coin was enough to get us a super luxurious meal. Mealtime is no time for business talk. We enjoyed the delicacies to our heart's content. After filling my tummy, I ordered a cup of coffee. The bitterness of coffee really is the most suitable for adults. With a bunch of sugar and milk added, the bitterness and sweetness started to tango. Isn't this just cafe au lait? How is it adult like to drink something that sweet? At least order an espresso. A sharp point came flying from Hinata. Looks like I accidentally spoke my mind. Shush already. This is nothing really, I'm just drinking for the occasion. By the way, your outfit is tasteless for an adult, as well. Not only coffee, even my clothes were dissed. Were her words true? What the staff had chosen for me back at the shop was a stylish poncho-like clothing. Even though it did seem a bit childish, I thought that I should be confident in the staff's taste. And I thought their choices would be undoubtedly reliable. Damn it, is this outfit really for children? No, it suits you really well, Rimuru-sama. Why yeah, it looks really good. But, I thought this is the type of clothes you like. You saying that it suits me, does it mean that you think I am childish? How should I put this? I feel hurt. This outfit was very comfortable and I didn't really dislike it. But speaking of which, that was not the point. The thing was my dandy-like appearance now. Thankfully I had grown a bit taller now. I started to look like a middle school student. Cuteness is really your style, just give up and roll with it, Hinata concluded, to which I felt very frustrated. Right. The way I looked right now, I couldn't suggest the slightest bit of mature charm. I didn't understand why I was concerned about my height now, even though I used to be an adult. Perhaps, I should just come to terms with reality. By the way, Hinata hadn't dressed up beautifully like during the festival. She was wearing her holy night outfit, going the route of the cross-dressing beauty. She looked quite dignified. Well, shouldn't I switch places with Hinata? Whatever the case, I wasn't bold enough to say that out loud. Although I felt it was very difficult to let go of the matter, we went back to our previous topic. While mourning the loss of Duke Muse, we began to investigate the circumstances of his murder. You mentioned that there are pistols in this world, so was he really killed by a sniper? I'm not sure about the details regarding that, but a pistol doesn't even have an effective range of 50 meters, right? That seemed to be the case. Surely, one would need a rifle in order to launch such a long-distance attack. Are there sniper rifles in this world then? Beats me, I've never seen one, but I can't conclude that there aren't any. I suppose. It was best to assume that sniper rifles existed in this world and act accordingly. And so, I transferred the concept of firearms through telepathy net to Benimaru and the others. Oh, so there's this type of weapon. I see, if this was utilized, I naturally would not have noticed. Perhaps I can use this as well. It shouldn't be a problem to research gunpowder, and the gun itself can be made by Dold-san. I got 3 different responses from 3 different people. In Benimaru's view, this type of weapon shouldn't even be considered as a threat. But Sae feared a repeat of his last mission's failure, and the inability to ensure the safety of his target. For his type of missions, he seemed to consider guns a threat. On the other side of this, we had Shuna. Her idea was to make the most dangerous gun. We could indeed make one, but what would be the consequences of doing so? The production of firearms marked a dramatic shift in the way that wars were fought. That being said, this world adhered to quality over quantity in a lot of cases, when it came to strategic design. Still, adding guns to our arsenal seemed very dangerous. We were better off not developing them just yet. In any case, in another world, this weapon's ferocity granted enough power to allow normally fragile people to dominate those around them. Well, I don't know how useful it will be in this world. It should be effective against magical beasts and the like of them. A gun can run out of ammo, but not mana. The higher the caliber, the more powerful the guns are, and the greater the number, the more threatening it is. For these reasons, I hope that your nation will not mass-produce them. Indeed, it's definitely viable. Hinata had thrown in her 2 cents. Right, we'll see about it. I think magic is stronger, but an average person wielding a firearm is equally dangerous. Japan did not have a gun society, therefore such a feeling was even stronger for me. Unlike what foreign news claimed about being able to protect yourself by owning a gun, I believe that such incidents probably wouldn't happen if no one owned guns anyway. Upon thinking so, it indeed felt very dangerous to spread such dangerous weapons to everyone. Okay, then I shall keep it strictly as research. Shuna accepted that, which was reassuring. However, even though it was generally considered as a threat, it shouldn't be able to harm us at all. Did we really need to give it such high regard? Report. To individuals with insufficient amounts of information, if they were to witness someone being gunned down in front of them, they wouldn't understand what happened. It is highly likely that the people around the deceased would be considered suspects. Raphael-san suddenly advised me, but what did that mean? The people around the deceased would be considered suspects. Oh, I get it. It meant that if someone next to me were to be assassinated, people would start to suspect me. After hearing so, it was indeed the case. Since Hinata was already close to me, even her testimony would likely be rejected. If the criminal ran away without leaving behind any murder weapon, I would likely be the one held accountable. How dangerous. Had I not discussed this with someone beforehand, I would have fallen for it. Even though I was not sure whether our enemies had truly set up such a trap or not, if Raphael-san deemed it necessary to warn me about it, I just assumed they have. Anyway, we best be careful during tomorrow's meeting. Wouldn't we just feel a pinch after being hit by a lead bullet without mana? We shouldn't be so careful about it. No, that's not discreet enough. Just as Hinata has said, the larger the caliber, the stronger the attack. There may even be something like a magic bullet. Moreover, if someone gets hit by one during the middle of the meeting, I will probably be the number one suspect. I'm worried about that too. I will be deploying my clones around the meeting ground and be extra careful. As expected of Sally, he already thought of so without me bringing it up. I'll be counting on you. Yes, sir. In other words, should any suspicious individual appear, Sally would figure out a solution. Now that I had been reassured, it was time to get to the main issue. By the way, Hinata, why did they invite me this time? I still hadn't been informed what we would be discussing in tomorrow's meeting, but I could predict it. Perhaps it would be about a certain dragon running loose somewhere, or the sighting of a mysterious demon lord, Ramers, and Valdor's predictions were absolutely idiotic. That couldn't have been the reason. The topic of the meeting had to be about whether or not they should allow our nation to join the council.